Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chelsea Story Nook Podcast, a podcast where we dive deep into the enchanting world of the children's literature. I'm your host, Chelsea Chong Kim, and today we have a wonderful guest joining to share their journey and insight into their latest book. I'm delighted to welcome our children's book author, David Shoup, the author of the series, The Adventure of Wembly the Pug, Wembly's First Day of School, and The Adventures of Wembly the Pug, the Wembly Gets a New Sister, to Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Welcome to this podcast, David.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting. I love to share about Wembly. Thank you so much for hosting this and allowing me to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being part of this podcast today. And again, could you share a little bit about yourself with our listeners?
Sure. Yeah. David Shoup. I live out in the Seattle area or Northwest. I live about 20 miles north of Seattle. And I'm new to the children's book world, children's author book world, I guess. I'm not new to the children's book world, but I'm new to being an author within the last couple of years. And so I'm still learning this wonderful world, getting out and, obviously I got a couple kids books here, as you can tell, really proud of these. And, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I'm really excited about exploring what it would look like to have a really big series of these kids books. So it's great.
Oh, I'm so excited and it's super cute. I love all your concept. So let's talk about your book. Could you give us a brief overview, introduce us to the main characters, share the core themes or messages you'd like the readers to take away?
Sure. Yeah. So the main character is Wembly the Pug, right? Wembly the Pug. He is, if you notice, he is a pug in a family of non-pugs. And this is a side note, I'm bringing this up, but I think maybe one of the stories he's going to be adopted. He'll find out he's adopted, which is wonderful, right? But the stories so far are mostly about having courage, facing fears, and then secondarily, they're about support systems that in this case, Wembly's family is there to support him through these tough times, right? And younger kids, they go through, big moments in their life, their first day of school, right? As in one of my stories is, getting a new sibling. These are all, stressful situations, getting their own room, learning how to go to the bathroom for the first time, right? There's all these things that are first times for kids and moments. And so I love Wembly fighting through that, having courage to overcome it, as well as knowing that he's got a family that supports him, that helps him overcome those fears or learn ways to cope with those challenges. So
what a delightful, cute, and touching story you have there. What sparkled your inspiration for writing this book? Could you give us the core idea that drove your motivation?
Sure. Yeah. So the inspiration was my own pug, my pug, Elvis the Pug. And I'll show you a picture here in a second if I can find it here.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Elvis the Pug I had him for 18 years and he passed away. This is Elvis when he was a little boy.
How precious.
Yes. And so he was the inspiration for this whole thing. He's the funniest little guy. Pugs, if you know pugs, they're super quirky and he has so much character. People loved him. I started creating a whole series of memes that I would send. His name is Elvis the Pug.
Oh, that's so
But
cute.
I had to change the name of the story to Wembly the Pug, and we can go into details about that one. But Elvis was the inspiration. He was so quirky. And so I wrote a couple stories before he passed away, but I didn't do anything with them. They sat on the shelf for about 5 years, 6 years or so. And then when he passed away, I first felt really bad that I didn't try and do it before and didn't have the courage myself to go ahead and try this, challenge of publishing a book. For whatever reason, the fear held me back. But when he passed away, I said, I have to do it. I have to honor him as best I can. And so I just created the first story about Wembly going to school. I just wrote a whole list of possible ideas for stories. And I said, that one I think that'll resonate and, every kid has to go through a first day of school at some point, whether it's their absolute first day, like of kindergarten or something,
Yeah.
or their first day of school when they're in second or third grade. I mean, first days of school can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And so
Yes.
I created this great story, ended up being an Amazon bestseller. And it was,
Congrats.
thank you. Yeah, it was wonderful. And it was, um, I imagined I would be a best-selling author for my personal development books that I'm working on writing,
Oh,
but I
wow.
haven't published those yet. And so I didn't know that this was going to come into my world. I didn't know the kids' books were
Yeah.
going to come into my world. And so, um, Elvis was the inspiration, really inspired me. And then obviously I saw, you saw my dogs. Hard to move my
Yes.
camera, but my two dogs are sitting here laying behind me. They
Super
play
cute.
mom and dad in the story. They are also, I had to have them in the story because they're inspirational, wonderful dogs. So
Oh, that is so nice. I love that dedication. And can you take us through your path to becoming an author and what experiences influenced your journey?
Sure. So I think I touched on it a little bit just a moment ago, but my
Yes.
path was um, all the way back. I mean, I've been interested in kids and support and making kids, entertaining kids for years. So when I went to college, when I was in college, I did children's theater, right? And I was an actor for years in college, and I would do children's tours, and I toured all of Washington, Oregon, and I toured all around doing children's theaters. Every one of my quarters every year or semesters every year was traveling doing children's theater. And just watching the joy on kids' faces, and I always got to play the bad guys, so it was pretty cool. So they always just hated me and they all yelled at me, and I was so it
That's
was
so funny.
awesome. It was awesome. I did my job right. I was the bad
Mm,
guy, right? But the kids were
yeah.
so happy. They're so truthful and so honest. It was really a joy. Additionally, I used to sell educational books door to door.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Wow.
so I did that for 8 summers, and that's how I got to meet with so many young kids, educating them on books, sometimes meeting families that they didn't have a lot of books. And so I would sell a kid's book to them. And so I did that for 8 years. That's how I paid for all my college. And so you kind of combine those. My background's in sales. And so I love the idea of
Ah,
selling, and I love the idea of kids. And so I'd love to sell some books. And so
yeah.
that's a long, long journey, right? I
Yes.
mean, I was 19, 20. Now I'm 50, 53, almost 53 actually. But um, it took a long time to get there, but that's kind of how I believe this all happened.
Mm.
Uh, Long story to get to to find. I mean, just imagine if I was 20 something years old and I was doing kids books, I'd have 100 kids books right now.
Exactly, exactly. And wow, like you mentioned about selling your books during your college days and summer days. I read your biography on your website. Guys, go check out his website, by the way. It's absolutely beautiful and so creative. You guys have to go check out his website. I'm going to include everything in the description below. I was reading the biography and it was very interesting, David. During your time selling educational books door to door in college, you mentioned that it was a pivotal moment in realizing the impact books can have on both parents and children. Can you share a particular experience or story from those summers that deepen your passion for entertaining and inspiring kids through those books?
Uh, I I think of my first summer when I was in Austin. The first house I knocked
Ah,
on when I was in Austin, Texas, is where
mhm.
it was it's like an exchange program. So from Washington, I went to
Ah,
Austin, Texas, and I worked there for the
mhm.
summer. And the first house I knocked on, um, they had a little kid, and then they had a kid that was in high school. So I was able to sell a
Ah,
couple, a more older, more referenced set of books, and then, dictionary, like kids dictionary, kids story time books. And over the course of the summer, I I would meet with this family on my way back home. I would come at my end of the day and I would knock on their door and I would say hi to this young girl and this little kid and their parents. And I cultivated a friendship with them. And I remember at the end when I was finally able to deliver all their books that they ordered, how how happy they were, how excited they were, and just the fact that I was I was there. And I introduced them to books, and I loved books, and they loved books. It was just really, really exciting. And then I think, let's say about 6 months later, after the summer was over, I got a letter from this girl who was a senior in high
Oh,
school about the books and how they inspired her and how I inspired her. And that's the reason why I did it. Obviously, I paid for my college. That was great. But it's a really hard job. Selling
yes.
door to door and getting so many rejections. And there's a lot of people who say no, right? They don't need it for whatever
Mhm.
reason. They're not in the right place. But every now and then you hit 2 or 3 families a day, 3, 4, 5 families as I get better at selling, who are just fired up about their kids' education and really they want to get some kids' books for them. And
Mhm.
it's really, there's so many people out there that could use good, wholesome education that can help maybe inspire the next author or the next teacher, whatever. I feel like I'm rambling now, but that first house, and I don't remember their name. I believe it was the Gonzaleses,
Oh,
but I don't remember their name. Just remember the impact that I had, and
nice.
all of the burritos and enchiladas they would have for me when I come by at the end of the night. They'd hand this starving college kid some food as I went back home. It was a really memorable experience, and that happened throughout my entire summer. So many different experiences like that. So many different
My
letters from
goodness.
kids. It was wonderful. And I recommend it, right? It's one of the, it's a
Yes.
hard job, but watching kids get their books and how excited they are to see you delivering the books to them. That was a once in a lifetime, not once in a lifetime. It's just a once. It was a super amazing experience. I can't say once in a lifetime because I did it for 8 summers.
Yeah. Wow, that is such a heartwarming story, David. And you guys want to see more of his stories and his biography. He's truly an inspirational author, educator. You guys name it. Like he is super inspirational. Guys, check out his website. And someone like you, David, I feel like my viewers will love to hear your advice. Can you offer any advice to authors out there, young readers who are on this same path as you, but may feel uncertain or afraid of discovering their own voice? Do you have any advice for them?
Certainly. Read this book because I'm just kidding. No, this story is so funny, right? As you say that, I think of
Yes.
Wembley's first day of school and how nervous he is, and
Yeah.
how starting anything new, especially something that you go, oh gosh, I would really like to do that, but I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know, how do
Yes.
I do it? What if people don't like me? What if people don't like what I do? What if I get laughed at? I mean, what if I'm just bad at it? I mean, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly at first.
Yes.
And so I would challenge you, one, step out of your comfort zone just a little bit
Yes.
and give it a try. Second
Mm-hmm.
is you are not alone. There are so many
Exactly.
people out there that are excited to help you. Look at this. Because I now am talking with Chelsea, who's helping get the word out for my book out.
Yes.
You're not alone. People want to
Yes.
support you. People want to encourage you. There are people who are on this planet whose vision is to help other people be successful. I was fortunate enough. I found a mentor by the name of Miriam Laundrie and Jack
Yes.
Canfield. These two people helped inspire me to get some good ideas, not to mention the countless close friends of mine who've inspired me. But specifically, Miriam Laundrie taught me how to do it. I have had people reach out to me and ask me, and I've helped a couple people become authors just by giving them a little bit of feedback. So it takes a little
Exactly.
courage. You are not alone. Ask for help, and just go for it. Go for it.
Yes, go for it, everyone. Just go for your passion, just like how David did. That is so wonderful, David. Thank you so much for the advice. As we near the end, could you let us in an upcoming events or future projects that you're really looking forward to and want your audience to stay tuned for?
Yes, well, there's a lot to stay tuned for in the world of Wembley, right? I'm working on merchandise. This is Wembley, one of
Woo!
the Wembley the Pug hats. I
So
just,
cute.
yeah, it's super. If you want to see cute, I just approved the final of a Wembley stuffy that's coming. The
Oh
stuffed
my
animal, yes, that little
gosh.
tail, that's so cute.
Oh,
So Wembley the Pug stuffy's coming. Wembley the Pug keychains are coming, and these are all I'm hoping by the end of October. Not to mention, if you can see, I'm working on puzzles, and I'm working on an activity book, right? This is the template of an activity book that I'm working on right here with coloring pages and matching, right? This is the school edition one that kind of ties to Wembly's first day of school.
Oh,
And so there's a lot coming down the pipe for Wembly the Pug. I've got a fair that's going to be happening in November, Northwest Written in the Northwest Book Fair, I believe it's what it's called, Written in Northwest Book Fair. That's right. And this is not a full-time job for me. This is a part-time job. This is what I do on the side of my other job, right? And so I love it. And I've got some schools set up that I'm going to go to, several of those in the future. I'm in Barnes and Noble, a lot of the local Barnes and Noble in the Seattle area. So lots coming.
Wow. And what is the best way for our listeners to follow you and stay informed with all these latest work?
You can follow me on, you can go to the website. I think you're going to put that, the Adventures of Wembly the Pug. You can follow me on Instagram, right? I'm on Instagram. I think it's under David E. Shoup author, or David Shoup author. And then also on Facebook, same thing, David Shoup author. And the hope is I can have 10 million kids books sold. Ooh. And have lots of people inspired.
Yes. And you can do it, David. You got this.
That is I know I'm nervous about that idea, but I can do it. We can do it, right?
You can do it. You're still young.
Thank you.
You got years to go, David. That sounds so amazing, and all the exciting journey ahead of you. Thank you so much, David, for joining us and sharing your insight. It's truly been a pleasure having you on my podcast.
Oh my goodness. It's been wonderful. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you for the opportunity, and best wishes to you, Chelsea. And let me know if I can help you in the future too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the episode of Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Don't miss out David Shoup, the author of The Adventures of Wembly the Pug, Wembly's First Day of School, and The Adventures of Wembly the Pug. Wembly gets a new sister. I'll include all the details in the description below, so be sure to check out David and follow him on all the upcoming events and updates. Until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep believing in the miracle stories. I'm Chelsea Chong Kim signing off. Take care, everyone, and carry it on. Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's episode of Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Don't forget to order a copy of Carol the Carrot Bowls for the Salad Bowl on Amazon now. Tune in to other authors' podcast interviews for exciting discussions about their latest books and exclusive sneak peeks. Until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep believing in the miracle stories. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. I'm Chelsea Kim signing off. Take